Welcome back to the Interrogation Room. I have two special guests today. My first guest is actor Vince Romo. Vince, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
And I also have a writer, producer, director extraordinaire, Pete Bollinger. Pete, thanks for joining us today.
It really is our honor. Thanks, Pete.
Thank you. So I'm excited about today's episode because we're going to be discussing an important movie, and that movie is called MUNDO. And before we get into a little bit of the interview, I want you to take a quick look at this trailer, and we'll be right back.
Hey, baby girl. Mundo here. Do me a favor. I'm Mundo. And from now on, everybody's slang in this neighborhood is supplied by me. And only me.
This ain't no game. This ain't no club or biker gang. You feel me, Holmes?
I understand, Gunner. I'm in.
Can you handle parole?
I'm a changed individual.
Are you sure you want to be with me? This business of yours seems to be taking you away from us.
It's not like that, Michelle. I love you.
Why would a hardcore Mexican mafia member such as yourself roll on one of his brothers?
Welcome back to the Interrogation Room. What you just saw is the trailer to the MUNDO movie. And I have two special guests, as I mentioned earlier, actor Vince Romo, who played MUNDO, and also director Pete Bollinger. And so they both have very interesting stories, and I'm excited to get into it. And without any further ado, thank you both for joining me. Pete, let me ask you a question. What motivated you to get into this life story of this individual, MUNDO?
Well, you may or may not know, we own a publishing company, and we publish a lot of books on the edge, books about the Mexican Mafia, Aryan Brotherhood, books to help law enforcement and just to educate people overall. And that's where I came across the real MUNDO. And I was intrigued by him, which, like a lot of people, but the honor that he had and the respect that he had from just about everybody that he contacted. And as I grew closer to him over the years as a real true friend, and really getting to understand the intricacies of his story and how he converted to Christianity, and from where he was just a evil person, it made it even more of a special story that had to be told. I felt so. One day I woke up, and I can only say that that it had to be a vision or a dream from above, because I woke up with this overwhelming sense that I had to make this movie. And what was strange about that was I had never made a movie before. I didn't know how to make a movie, and I'm going, why? How am I going to do this? But I knew I had to do it. So I called up MUNDO, and I said, you may or may not believe this, but here's what happened. And he said, well, I can think of a lot of better ways to spend your money. And I go, yeah, you know, that's true. I go, but I feel that this is something that I have to do, that is a commission to me. And so we embarked on the MUNDO movie. And our goal was, both of us, to make it factually accurate. We had seen I'm just going to go ahead and be real. I'm going to say the movies. You know, we had seen Blood In, Blood Out, which is a cult classic and an awesome movie. American Me, same thing, but they're not factual. They're not real. And what I wanted to do was use the real names, use the real characters. They are who they are. What happened, happened. And I just wanted to be factually correct. And I know we did that.
Right. Oh, it's an extraordinary movie, having watched it myself. And Vince, you did a great job. I want to ask you, what was it, Vince, about this part, about this role that spoke to you and made you want to play this role of Mundo?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I had just went to an audition. I mean, I wish I could tell you that, hey, you know what, Pete picked me out of the sky and said, oh, I want this guy. It wasn't like that. I went to an audition just like any other actor. Very first time, you know, meeting Pete. And Pete said, you're in prison, and I want you to show us, you know, you giving your heart to God, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, you're laying on your cot, you know what I'm saying? You've been in prison many years. Show us giving your heart to God. And so, and I remember like it was yesterday, what I did is I laid on, you know, the cot and I talked to God, and I had a very intimate, you know, talk with God, asking God to forgive me my sins, but I didn't say no words. I stood very, I didn't, people on audition may have said, you know what, God, forgive me, God, I'm so sorry, you know, I'm so sorry, I know I'm a bad human being. I did none of that. And the reason being is because if I'm in prison for all these years and I'm an evil individual, and at that time, I didn't even know what the story was about. This is the honest truth. I did not find out until the very last audition. Pete took me to dinner. Pete took me to dinner, and
Was it somewhere good? Was it somewhere good?
Well, yeah, I think he took me to Chili's, if I remember. Wasn't it Chili's, boss?
It was Chili's. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he took me to Chili's, and after they I guess, you know, him and, you know, Mundo, because I've never had the, you know, the honor of meeting Mundo, but I guess after he had talked and with him and, you know, a few others, you know, people a part of CEDAR Films, they decided to go with me. And thank you for that, by the way, Pete. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, because
You earned it.
It's open. Thank you. It's opened many doors for me. And so to make a long story short, he offered me the role, and he said, we want to offer you this role. And I was so excited. And then all of a sudden he put this book down on the restaurant table, and he said, this is what this movie's about. And I was like, oh, I was kind of like, you know, like, whoa, this is heavy. You know, this is heavy, you know, because, you know, Mundo was the hardest film that I have ever made in my life. More than, you know, when I think about Shadow Boxer, having to run up hills, having to do sit-ups, having to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Doesn't even compare. It doesn't even compare. When I think about Cholo Zombies and, you know what, having hours in makeup, you know, getting used to contacts, it doesn't even compare. There will never be a film that has been more harder for me to do than Mundo.
Right.
And that's because, you know, I went through a lot. I went
Right.
through a lot filming Mundo. You know, I was hearing everything that you could imagine hearing. Now, I don't know if you want to get into that right now, or you know what I'm saying, you want to save it for later, but I went through a lot. You know, in fact, I will say this, I pretty much almost quit the film. And then I came back, and then Pete was going to fire me. And he's right there. You know, he was going to fire me. He said, you know what, I'm tired. You know what, and it's like, I went through a lot of stress because, you know, I mean, there were people that I brought into the film that knew what the film was about, and they ended up filming. They ended up dropping out the next day. You know, Pete had every right to be pissed at me, if we're real. You know, I mean, I'm costing him thousands of dollars because.
Okay, and I wanted to ask Pete about that, because being a filmmaker, Pete, obviously there's some pitfalls. I mean, you've heard all these stories about I got to beg, borrow, and almost steal to make a movie, and I know it's difficult being a producer myself. What some of our audience members may not know, Pete, is that you're a former law enforcement officer, right?
I am. And can I touch on the audition real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I remember how impressed I was with Vince.
Thank you.
A friend of mine referred, a friend of ours, mutual friend, said,
Yeah.
"You got to see this guy. He's very talented. He was in The Neighborhood. I watched The Neighborhood. I liked his acting skills." I said, "Send him over." So I'm auditioning, and he's telling the truth. He didn't say a word. I said, "I want you to demonstrate the despair and loneliness of being in a cell for years. I want you to show me that. I don't want you to tell me that. I want you to show me that." And he brought me to tears. I don't know if you remember that. I mean, you know, my eyes were welling up. It was an incredible experience. And I knew that he was the right man for this role. And so that was, he was underselling himself. It was beautiful. The audition and the power behind the what he did. And he showed it throughout the movie.
Right.
But going back to the pitfalls and finishing a movie, well, being in law enforcement gave me a unique perspective to the streets. I was on the streets 20 out of the 25 years. And I think I was a fair police officer. I think I was a good police officer and a good sergeant, and tried to be fair to everybody. But I have a real feel for the streets, and you know, like a different perspective than I think most filmmakers. You know, some of these guys they rely on advisors and like Pete. You know, you were an excellent police officer and detective. You don't have to rely on advisors. You know what happened. You know what to. So, and the same thing with Mundo. I mean, and knowing, understanding the streets and knowing how the bad guys work and deal with. And then, but there's parts of the world that law enforcement doesn't understand behind the scenes, you know, with the gangsters and MA and everything. So one of the things I decided was, no matter what, we're going to be respectful. You know, there's things that I could have put in there that were not respectful, and we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't do that to anybody, let alone, you know, any shot callers or anything. It's not our style. Right. So, but finishing a movie is absolutely the hardest thing that you will ever try. A friend of mine told me, he's an actor in one of our movies. He told me that 90% of the movies that he goes to act on never get finished. Wow. And I believe it. You know, you're going through you're doing a lot of producing right now. It's hard. It's hard to finish, and it, you know, it gobbles up money and resources, and people get upset. People lose stuff. The computers break. Hard drives fall into water. I mean, right. All kinds of weird things happen, and it's just absolutely, it's harder than anything I've ever done in my life. Harder than the police academy. Harder than the military. All the Army training that I went through at, you know, the Air Force, but I went through Army training in Texas, and it's harder than any of that. Harder than Hell Week in football. But the rewards are amazing, because when you put something out like Mundo, you know, we felt that we made a historical document, so to speak, for the rest of eternity. You know, however long people want to watch that, they see the accuracy and what actually happened with Joe Morgan and Ramon and, you know, and Cheyenne Cadena and all the other guys. No BS, no fake, no creative artistry, where they turn things around. It is what it is. And
right. And let me ask you this: how important was that to you? I know you mentioned a little bit about that, but being accurate, because I know there was some controversy surrounding the American Me movie. It was a fictional movie, and right. Things were not portrayed right within the MA and everything like that. It was important for you to get it right, wasn't it?
It was absolutely important to get it right. And you know, there's controversy. Ramon first wrote his script many years ago, and Edwards James Olmos actually borrowed that script, and in that script there was a scene where the real Ramon Mendoza, the real Mundo, got put in juvenile hall for a GTA, Grand Theft Auto, And while he was laying in bed, this black kid raped this white kid. And he was shocked because it was the first time he was in juvenile hall. And he was shocked that this was happening to this kid, and nobody was helping. And Mundo made up his mind. Mundo was a very formidable, young man. I mean, he could box and fight. And
guys, youngster, orale, listen up, homeboys. Today is the day. These are the barrio rules. No kicking, no weapons. Welcome to Barrio Nuevo.
It just like how accurate was the jump-in scene. I mean, he fought. He was taking his toll on the other guys. It wasn't easy for them. So, but he was blown away. He said, "That's never going to happen to me." And he goes, "I will die first." And so, almost took that scene that he wrote and flipped it into Santana, also Cheyenne Cadena, who they're purporting being raped, and that's what caused almost all those problems and issues.
Right.
And
part of the controversy that surrounded, including that particular scene, right?
Right, which never happened.
Right. It was all a fictional depiction of what didn't happen, right?
What didn't happen, and you're like, why didn't you use somebody else? Why did you use Cheyenne Cadena or Santana? Because it didn't happen. So we just didn't want to be involved in something that, like look, 30 years ago that movie was made, and we're still talking about the errors in it,
Right.
And people still buy it. They still watch that movie, which I understand, but I don't like that. I don't think it's right putting, for whatever reason, putting stuff that didn't happen to a person happening, especially that kind of thing,
Right. Let me ask you this, and Vince, I wanted to get back to you and ask you, playing this role as a former Mexican mafia member, or in the movie, it shows your progression from a street gang member up to a Mexican mafia member, and then obviously your conversion. Why would you choose a role like this? Is there something in your own life that spoke to you about? I know you explained the audition and all, but you could have refused at some point, but obviously something spoke to you, I guess. Can you tell us about that?
Well, you know what? I'll be very honest with you. It's me, and that's what we're here for, is to be honest. I've worked very hard in this industry, and it's hard to get opportunities as a Chicano actor. And you know what? When I was offered the role, it was like, as I said, I was happy, because I was like, man, this is, how many times is a Chicano, gonna be able to say they had a lead role? Whether the film made $1 million or $1, it was still an opportunity. And I was like, I had thought about it. I was like, man, do I do this? Do I not do it? Because everybody said, that, but people, I don't want to say everybody, like people, I used to attend a certain church. They were all against it. They're like, no, don't do this film. Some fellow actors were like, no, don't do this film. And one thing is, and I have to give, give credit to Rianne. She had, which is my wife, she had said something, and it hit me heavy. She said, if you don't do it, somebody is going to do it. And that's the honest truth, and that's reality, because if I didn't do it, someone is going to do it. But it was hard. It was very hard, brother, because there was a period of time where I couldn't even eat, because I kept having to use the restroom because I was so nervous. As I said, Pete knows all about it. I've lost friendships. I even got calls from attorneys saying that I was going to be sued over this film. I had to leave my church because the church they felt that there was going to be repercussions, and that I was putting the congregation in danger. And I was like, wow. But it's crazy, because none of the people, like, from, none of the big homies or anybody that, is significant in that realm, nobody gave me a hard time. I've met a few people, I won't mention their names, and all they ever told me was, hey, can we take a picture with you? And it was crazy. That's all they've ever told me. All the people that they gave me such a hard time, that said, you know what, you're selfish, Vince Romo. All you want to do is make it in Hollywood. I can't believe it. You're putting your kids at risk. You know, what is wrong with you? You know, they're going to kill you. They're going to torture you. They're going to, I mean, all kinds of crap I heard. And I was like, wow, dude, I had, if I sit and tell you that I never cried over hearing those things, I did. You know, I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on this show or not. Or I don't know. I don't know how this show is. But you know what? I fucking went through a lot, man. I went through a lot, you know, and
cuss.
Oh, you can't cuss?
Don't cuss.
Well, we'll beep it out.
Okay.
But, no, at any rate, go ahead, because what I was going to say is this, Vince. Like, Mike, I know this is not the only role that you've played, and I know you and Pete are collaborating on some other things, and I wanted to get into that a little bit in the short time we have.
Yes.
You mentioned Cholo Zombies. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and maybe we can look at a quick trailer of that?
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. God, please forgive me. I won't commit this sin. This shit stressed out my life.
Take 2 steps to the right and you say what's up. Stumble out to the left cause you feeling drunk.
Why have you brought alcohol into my confession?
It's part of the story. They killed my sister, man.
Hurry up!
Did you open that box?
No, of course not. Yeah, no.
Good.
I go straight to the bar when I walk in. Couple drinks later got me feeling real confident. I just wanna dance, I ain't here with my baggy jeans. I do my dance, everybody starts eyeing me. I know they wanna try it, I bet they gonna like it. When I take it low, they all get excited. Who doesn't wanna see a gangster dance instead of fighting? I just wanna have a good time, forget the violence. So you can take it down to the floor with your elbows up. Move side to side as you coming up. Take 2 steps to the right and you say what's up. Stumble out to the left.
Well, you know what? The thing is that, and that's why I have to be grateful to that film Mundo. And so forever, I am forever grateful to Pete, you know, and I hold no qualms. You know, I did an interview the other day and they asked me who was the one individual that you look up to most. And it is Pete Bollinger. And I know a lot of people. Pete will tell you, you know, I've worked my ass off in this, my rear off in this industry. And I know a lot of people, brother. And, you know, I mean, friends of mine, you know, and the person I look up to the most is Pete Bollinger. And people say, well, why Pete? Because Pete took a chance on me. You know, he's giving me opportunities. You know, I mean, I'm a part of CEDAR Films family, you know, forever. Right. It's like he has opened so many doors for me. So how could I not be grateful and look up to this individual? If it wasn't for God using Pete, you know what? I wouldn't be on this Zoom call with you right now. So I am forever grateful to Pete. You know, it's like, here he is, you know, I mean, think about it. I'm on the cover of Shadowboxer poster. I'm on the cover of the Cholo Zombies poster, the cover of Mundo. I never thought that would be, you know, I'm on a t-shirt, you know what I'm saying? And I believe that Cholo Zombies is going to be huge. It is. Everybody is telling me, I haven't got to see the film. Everybody's telling me it's amazing. And when I got Cholo Zombies, I told Pete that I was going to deliver something that he's never seen before. And everybody has been like, whoa.
What's your character's name in Cholo Zombies?
His name is Monstro. And I'm proud to say I'm proud to say I named him. Pete had a different name. And I said, what do you think about Monstro? And he said, I like it. Yeah, Monstro. And, you know, Monstro is a character, brother. Monstro he's funny. He's hilarious. He loves to cause havoc. He could be angry. He could be funny. He is funny. And I truly believe that people are going to fall in love with Monstro. I mean, you know, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but, you know, we're going to be doing a Monstro film. And it's like to hear Pete, you know, love the character so much that he's giving me another opportunity to play a film, you know, where, I mean, man, to just carry the film and to play this character, he's funny. You're going to love Monstro, Pete. You're going to love Monstro.
Yeah. Let me ask you about that, Pete. So you got a lot of projects in the works, and we just touched on a little bit of Cholo Zombies, but can you give the audience a good teaser about what it's about?
I will, Pete. Can I go back though a little bit?
Sure.
I think that anybody that's tuning in is, if they don't know anything about Mundo, they're going to be like, well, why was Vince threatened, or why was this happen? And just if I could get maybe do 30 seconds on that.
Oh, no, absolutely. Go ahead.
So what separates Mundo from Kilroy, a movie that's coming out soon, is Mundo. He was a bad man. Like I said, he killed 30 people by himself individually. He was a hitman of the Mexican mafia. And he was very good at what he did. And Mundo was a super, super smart man, and probably a genius. And so he was able just to put it all together and calculate everything down to the nth degree. Well, when Mundo converted to Christianity, he went undercover against his own Mexican mafia. And he also testified against the Mexican mafia, putting, I think, about 65 cases on different people, including Joe Morgan. So they call him, in street terms, he's called a rat. And a lot of people still hold that against him, that he is a rat. And he, he believes he was doing the right thing. But that's what separates. That's why so many people were like, you can't, play this part. You can't do this movie. And we considered this movie a faith movie. It's about God, really, So about what were you, what you could have been, and what you could be. So
it's a redemption story.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to clarify that so that people understand. And it's really, on the street, being a rat is really ugly. Really ugly. So, but going on to the question was about Cholo Zombies, Pete?
Yeah, no, I wanted to ask you about, and thank you for that. I was going to ask you about this Cholo Zombies and some of the other projects that our audience can look forward to seeing coming out of CEDAR Films.
Oh, great. Well, the first movie that I want to talk about is Kilroy. It's not a CEDAR Films movie. It's a Paul Morales movie. And I'm talking about the guy that's doing the music is hitting that last note. That's how close we are. And we had some logistical issues due to COVID, like everybody else did. And, it disrupted some things, but that movie is so good. Versus, and the key to that, Kilroy dropped, he says he dropped into the kingdom of heaven. He didn't drop out of the Mexican mafia, but he didn't testify against anybody. Therefore, he can't be considered a rat. So that's the big difference between Mundo and Kilroy. Kilroy was also a prolific killer and a shot caller in the Mexican mafia. So that movie's coming out, and I hope you guys enjoy that. It's going to be one of those cult classics, I think. Yeah, Cholo Zombies. Well, it started off. Every time you hear Cholo Zombies, don't you want to? You just laugh, right? You chuckle. And that's what happens to everybody when you tell them the title. And it happened to us when we were first talking about making it. And, I owe a lot to Paul Morales and Joe Castro. I mean, they were instrumental in the very beginning of this. And, and it just kind of came together. And
who are some of the other actors that are in there that we might be looking for?
Oh, there's tons of them. There's Lou Pizarro from Repo Man. There's Paul Rodriguez. Well, yeah, Paul Rodriguez, the great Paul Rodriguez, amazing. And Danny De La Paz, award-winning actor. Carlos Carrasco from Blood In, Blood Out and Speed. And of course, there's a couple references with Danny De La Paz and American Me that I think that people will enjoy. But it's just a funny movie. It's satiristic. Hopefully people love it, and we want to spin off with Monstro. We have some conceptual things with Monstro that we think will be great, and well, we want people just to sit back for an hour and a half and just laugh and enjoy, and that's our goal. There's no big, deep, hidden meaning, and we just want people to have fun. And
this is
that's,
probably a break for you from all the serious movies that you've been doing, right?
it is. And we've, I mean, we've hit drug addiction, law enforcement, the MA world. I mean, some dark stuff, and this was fun. It was fun to laugh and to watch some of the funniest people. You know, I mean, there's some really funny people around. Paul Rodriguez, as you know, you were on set. He I don't know how he does that. I wish I was funny like that. They ability to throw those one-liners and I mean, even weeks later, I'm laughing about some of the stuff he said.
Right,
and,
right.
You know, so
you have a rapper in there too, right? There's a rapper. Can you tell us about that?
Well, Vince had a connection with Lazy Bone. Why don't you share that, Vince?
Okay. Yeah. You know what? As I said earlier, you know, I've made a lot of great friends in this awesome industry that I'm so blessed to be a part of. And Lazy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony, and is an awesome friend of mine. And so I got a hold of Pete, and I said, "Hey, boss, you know," because I call Pete boss because, you know, he is my boss. I'm with Cedar Films, and so, you know, he is my boss. He's the one that, you know, signs the check to me. Thank you, boss. You know what I'm saying? I love you, man. And so I called him up and I said, "Hey, what do you think about, you know, getting Lazy Bone in the film?" And it was funny because, you know, Pete, you know, I don't know if you know this, but Pete's white, and in case you didn't know that. and so because he's white, he didn't know who Lazy Bone is. He's like, I don't know who the Bone guy is. And he's funny because we've talked about in the past, you know, working with different artists, you know, because I do music as well. And so I know a lot of artists. And so he goes, I don't know who this guy is. So he kind of wasn't for it at the beginning. Right. So then I got a hold of some other people that are, you know, essential to the film. And they're like, dude, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, but Pete's not really feeling it. So I kind of, you know, I was like, dude, you know, you guys may want to, they're like, oh my gosh, they're like, we're honest, dude, to get Lazy Bone in the film. You know what I'm saying? This is a guy that, you know, that goes on tour with Snoop Dogg, that, I mean, has, I mean, stadiums, you know what I'm saying? He's out there. And I'm like, you know, so when they got a hold of him and they sent him some of the songs, and he was like, yes, let's get him. So I am excited because me and Lazy Bone actually we're doing a song for the film, which I'm really excited about. You know, that's what I'm saying. I'm so grateful to Cedar Films and to Pete Bollinger because it all started with Mundo. Look at Mundo.
You want to give Lazy Bone a shout out right now?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Lazy, you know, give a shout out to Lazy, Flesh and Bone, Busy, Wish, you know what I'm saying, Crazy, all the Bone Thug fam, you know what I'm saying? I love them all, man. They're, you know, that's my family. Those are my people. And
in the movie, there's another young friend of yours that you did a quick Instagram with. You want to do a shout out to him now? I think he's known by Dinero. Is that right?
Oh, Dinero.
Yeah, Dinero, my little perito. He's a good kid, you know. In fact, we did a film called Suicide by Cop, and he actually plays a younger version of me in that film. And so, yeah, no, shout out to Dinero. I love you, little perito. You know, shout out to everybody a part of this film, you know.
And the crew too, right? We can't forget about the crew. I mean, they're
everybody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, it's so essential. You know, we all made this film come together. And as I said earlier, I told Pete that I am going to deliver something so amazing. You know, I'm an actor, so I know what I'm doing. You know, the first thing that I said, I'm going to blow your mind. And I believe I did that because everybody keeps giving me compliments. Everybody does when they see the film, because a few people have seen it, they're like, dude, freaking monstro, dude. He's on a whole other level. You know, one of the biggest compliments that blessed my heart was Pete said, when I watch the film and you're not even having any dialogue, Vince, he's all, you know, but you're in the background, dude, I look at you. Like, you know, the other characters are talking, he's all, but I'm focused on you. And you're just in the background, you know, moving your lips, you know, licking your chops and just being like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Not even saying that thing. He's all, you just, you know, and that's a huge compliment.
That's a good zombie, right? Good zombie.
That is true. You are drawn. You guys will see it when you see the movie. You're drawn to. But I want to say that Lazy Bone, that is a heck of a nice guy. I mean, I talked to him for a little while. That man, I liked him a lot. He was cool. And who you're talking about, Dinero, everybody, you're going to see Dinero in the future. That guy's he's a star in the making. He's born to be on film. And
I'm looking forward to it. When can the audience expect Cholo Zombies to come out?
well, we're actually going to start it out a couple weeks before Halloween. We're going to come out with End Up. There's a real awesome rapper that's got a song called the Cholo Shuffle. And, you know, we have a song with it by Carissa. You can look her up on Instagram. She's an amazing girl. And we're going to try to get something going viral a few weeks in advance. And we're looking at Halloween. And we're pushing it, but COVID, like I said, COVID kind of disrupted it a little bit. We're going to try, but if we can't make Halloween, we're really trying hard and we're going to do our best. But if that doesn't happen, then we're going to refocus on New Year's Eve. So,
okay, what about the Mundo movie? There's been people that have been, I'm sure, watching and are like, okay, they've talked a lot about this Mundo. I got to check this out. Where can they find Mundo?
Well, the first place is Amazon Prime, of course, and then Tubi. I think you can get it on Tubi, and there's a lot of other sites that have it. It's around the world. It's not just it's in other languages. It's and other. Every country has a Netflix kind of thing, and it's all over the world. And then also for a short time, we offered it free on Perplex News. It got about almost 100,000 hits or views in a month. And I think the Perplex News, that's what we got here. You collaborated, right? And
yeah, so we have joined forces. I'd say Journey to Justice has joined forces with Perplex News. And now we're featuring the Mundo Chronicles on our channel. So that's why I thought, man, well, what better platform to have you both is on our Journey to Justice channel now.
Yeah, I love what you guys are doing. I've seen your episodes. Amazing, good, great work, great. Just you're covering all bases.
Thank you, brother. I will pay you later for that.
Hey, don't forget me.
No, absolutely. Vince, I want to thank you both. You guys have been great. And I know, you have any parting words for our audience before we let you go, Vince?
You know what? I just want to tell people, you know what? I've been blessed to go and, speak at high schools, juvenile halls. And I always tell people, you know what? And this is everybody. We have a choice in life. You could either have utter failure or you could have ultimate success. That's the honest truth. You could have utter failure or ultimate success. And how do you choose that? By just your choices in life, whatever you decide to do. And if you work hard, you stay humble, and you trust in God, anything is possible. And that's the honest truth. Like I said, I never thought I'd be here being interviewed by you. I never thought that, I'd be friends with, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Marilyn Manson, Amelia Rivera, all these people that I know. There's so many people that I know in this industry, and it's like, wow. So you can't tell me that you can't do it, because you can. You can. If you stay humble, work hard, trust in God. And it's like, I'm the most humble person in the world, and people know this, it's like whenever I never think, that, oh, well, hey, I'm on this t-shirt or I'm on this movie. No, I'm Vince Romo. I'm going to always be Vince Romo. As I said, because, anything could be, you never know what's going to happen. You could have the ultimate success one day and you could lose it the next. And so, you got to always stay humble, man. You know what I'm saying? Right. And no matter what, and don't forget
good words.
Yeah. Don't forget your people. Don't forget where you come from. And you know what? Anything is possible. And I thank you both you guys, for this interview. And, gente, I would say watch Mundo. It's the actual true story of this individual's life. And, as I said, even though I went through a lot because of, a lot of people, nobody bad, as I said, no one has gave me a hard time. Everyone's been nice to me, except certain individuals in the acting community and the church community. There just were people that were scared, but no one else has gave me a hard time. And it's only been peace. And I thank God for this film, because it's opened the door for so many others. So I truly, truly thank God that I ended up doing the film, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be here with you right now. So life is all about choices.
Thank you for that. And Pete, I want to give you an opportunity for some final words to our audience. Anything you'd like to say?
I'll be a little more succinct, I think, than Vince. If you think, Henry Ford said, if you think you can or can't, you're right.
That's good. That's good stuff. Well, I want to thank you both. I really appreciate it. I think our audience will enjoy this episode. And if somebody wants to get a hold of Cedar Films or you, Pete, is there a good email address they can shoot you an email at?
Yeah, they best to go through the publishing company is policeandfirepublishing.com. And once again, policeandfirepublishing.com. And there you can get all kinds of books, which the Mexican Mafia Encyclopedia is still the best-selling law enforcement book there is. 500 pages of a historical document of MA-related people, contacts, deaths, etc. Great book.
Can I have you back to discuss on another episode how you published the original book, The Black Klansman, and how that became a movie?
Love to. Great
okay,
story.
that was a tease for another episode, but thank you so much. Vince, if people want to get a hold of you out there, maybe just give you a shout out or a message, a positive message, how could they reach you?
You know what? My email is VEEROMO22, the number 22 at Gmail. My social media is Instagram _ Vince Romo _ actually just type in Vince Romo. It's always the first one to come up. My Facebook, Vince Romo as well too. So yeah, get a hold of me through there and, you know, come say hi, you know, follow me. And I appreciate you. You know, I thank all my gente. I thank all the raza that supports me, that show me that love. And even, you know, I mean, just anybody, you know, thank you, gente. So yeah, get a hold of me. And if that fails, then go through a Police and Fire Publishing and you'll get a hold of me through there.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate you both. Thanks for joining me today in the interrogation room.
Thank you, Pete.